Welcome to Season 4 of the Get Set podcast, an old girls entertainment production. We are so excited to be on the pod today sharing our experiences as women in the TV and film industry.
Yes, and we have a very special guest with us on the pod today, actor and producer of her own work and budding social media sensation, Shelah LARSON.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That intro.
Yes, you are.
I'm going to be smiling
Shelah
for the rest
is
of the
known-
day.
Yay!
Yeah,
I hope you are. Shelah is known for her acting, writing, and producing of her own short films dedicated to whimsical narratives. Shelah's currently developing her next project, Just Breakfast, coming this year, 2025.
Shelah's work has been officially selected for film festivals such as Studio City International Film Festival, Poppy Jasper International Film Festival, Park Micro Short Film Festival, and she's been selected as the Best Actress nominee in the 2025 LA Independent Women Film Awards. And that's just a handful of the selections. Those are just a handful that we decided to talk about. Mo, what else?
And honestly, talk about kismet, because we thought we met Shelah at a networking event. We thought, but it turns out she was in a short film that I produced with our partner Hannah and that Jessica AD'd on just a little over 2 years ago. And then, so when Shelah and we finally, met in person at a Moonshot Collective Galentine's Day event in February of this year, and then found ourselves again in the same room at the Women in Entertainment Summit.
Yeah, our universe is clearly trying to set us up. So welcome to the pod. Finally, Shelah LARSON. Yay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're
Sorry.
here.
Yeah, we made it. Man, that intro. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's crazy. This is why I love women too, is because we're so ready to celebrate each other, and it's so hard to celebrate ourselves. So this was a beautiful reminder of the things that we've done and are doing. And so I appreciate both of you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's all the stuff that you've done. So,
It's
we
crazy.
shout it out.
My gosh, thank
It
you
is
so
crazy
much.
though when it's listed like that. You're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I have done many a things.
Yeah.
Who knew?
It's
And
crazy.
they were all recent. When we were
Yeah.
researching it, it was like 2024, 2025, and it was just tons of stuff that you're...
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah.
Jessica,
so
take it.
let's get started. In your own words, who are you and where do you call home?
Oh my gosh. In my own words. So I'm Shelah. Hi. Hello, ladies. I am an actor, producer, all those things that you mentioned, multi-hyphenate. I know that's kind of the buzzword for this session and this year maybe. So I do anything and everything I can, really. But I think my lanes typically veer into acting, producing, and writing. And I hail from San Jose, California, Bay Area. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
And now I'm in LA, which is also a great place.
What was your training like before moving to LA? And then how was that decision to finally move down here?
Yes. So training was, I took acting classes. However, I started in 2019. That's when my pursuits in film began. And unfortunately, as we are all too aware, that was about the time that COVID kind of was introduced into the scene. So I had just gotten my feet wet with acting, and then we went virtual. And from that, my life with film was pretty much all online and just kind of doing little projects here and there, but very few and far between. But it did make me realize how much I loved acting. And it kind of got me started in doing my own projects even, because we were all kind of siloed in general. And from that, it took me some time to gain the gumption, the confidence to move down to LA. And so I only just made that move this past February 2025, but it was on my to-do list for a few years. So finally made the leap.
Oh my gosh. So when we had, officially kind of met you in person at that networking event, that was LA was fresh to you.
Fresh. I think at the Moonshot Galentine's, I had been there just a couple of weeks, if not a week. I think it was 1 week since moving.
Which is so wild, because the feeling that I got when we met you at that event, I literally thought you were one of the coordinators, or like you knew everyone there. You just seemed like very socialite and like very like so sweet. And you introduced us to 2 other people. I'm like, oh, okay. Like she has her lay of the land, or she organized this event.
You were very confident in the room. At
Oh,
least that's
gosh.
the area. I mean, I'm sure inside you were, turning a little bit, but like the projected aura was the confidence.
I never would have
Yeah.
assumed you just
No.
moved to LA.
Yeah.
Not in a million years.
Well, there's a trick to that. First of all, it was all, yes, fake it till you make it, right? But also a trick that I learned very quickly with kind of getting familiar with a new space is volunteering. So I was actually offered through the friend Tracy who connected me. Tracy is an amazing director. She's been in the industry for 10 plus years. She was kind enough to say, hey, there's a volunteer opportunity at the event. Would you like to help? And I said yes. And because I took the volunteer approach, it made me feel more comfortable going up to people, helping people, facilitating conversation. And so I'm naturally, that's kind of what I naturally fall into is I love events. I do that as a day job as well, planning events and running point. So I was very comfortable in that element. And so I think that's what you were seeing is I was able to fall into my level of comfort in like helping out with the event. And so I'll actually be volunteering at the one coming up this month as well. I'll be volunteering again.
So you're an actor, writer, producer. So if the first avenue was an actor, it was really like you said, being siloed during COVID that made you feel like you needed to be all of those things. How did that transpire? Because not every actor is, able to do all of those. And how have you been able to make those three different things work for you instead of, detracting from your main goal?
Yes, great question. I don't know if this answer is helpful to many people, but for me, it's natural to who I am as a person, meaning that's, type A, type B kind of hyphenate in a way, business minded, business centered. I went to school for business. So, logistics come easy to me, planning comes easy to me, but then also my day job, fun fact, I'm an executive assistant and I work in tech simultaneously. And I've been doing that for literally the same amount of time I've been pursuing acting. So about a little over 5 years each at the same time. And so the skill sets are very comparable. They overlap. I do a lot of logistical planning at work that feeds into production work, a lot of calendaring, scheduling, event planning, thinking of the little details. So it's something that I've naturally done. So I know it's kind of not like, oh yeah, do this and you'll be able to do it all. It's something that I've been doing for many years already.
What about the things that you write? What tends to be, I know it's in your bio, it's the whimsical things that you're drawn to. What does that mean to you? What kind of style? Because you have very varying short films. They're very different. They're all very, interesting and have depth to them, but they are very different. So how do you approach it from a writing standpoint when you want to make a new short film or content or have an idea?
I love to live in the world of fantasy, whether that's, full-fledged fantasy, you have crazy developed worlds, Lord of the Rings style, what have you, or if it's just like a little sprinkle of fantasy, so fantasy realism, where it does take place in our world, but there's elements of intrigue. I like to kind of lean more on that side of things because it's different than my everyday life. Growing up, I was a big video game player, and I always had thoughts about people who played sports video games. I'm like, you can just go outside and kick a ball. Why don't you just go do that? Versus like my type of video games was like, you get to fly, you get to have wings, you get to fight dragons, you get to, cast spells. You don't get to do that in real life. And so that's where I think I've been inspired with my writing is the same idea of the sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want. But to the other degree of kind of a variation, I am inspired really by my moods. If I'm feeling like really angry, I might want to do something more like, battle focused, take down the bad guys. And then also locations. So if I'm driving and I see a really cool location, I'll be like, that's really cool. What story does this evoke? And then I'll do that. I actually wrote one right now. It's in development, and it was inspired by a hike that I went on. There was this beautiful lake, and I was instantly inspired to write a fantasy realism based off of it.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really interesting, especially because I feel like you are definitely taking it from like you can tell you started off as an actor first because it really does feel like it's what's the environment and what does that foster?
Mm-hmm.
Like what kind of character does that foster? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how it makes the character's journey deeper. So you're basically self-taught
Yeah.
in terms of, So how did that journey go? Were there certain books or resources that you went to in order to structure these projects for yourself?
Good question. You know what? I am guilty to say no, but I will say not yet because I do know there's many resources out there. I think for me, it's truly just been boots on the ground and paying very close attention when I get the chance to be on set, when I get the chance to meet someone who's a writer who's been writing for a while. I'm just very focused on asking them questions and I absorb like I'm a little sponge. I think for me that's worked, but I definitely think there's a lot more work to be done in educating myself. I just spoke with another actor who read Save the Cat. She recommended Save the Cat to me, which Jessica, I don't know, is that something that you are familiar with or know of? Or maybe Monique?
Yeah.
Did you guys tell me about that too? Okay, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we spoke about it briefly. Yeah.
We did then.
Yeah.
Okay, it came up again. I got
It's a weird title, so like
It's
it
easy-
needs
yeah.
a few moments to catch up. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so you both ladies absolutely can attest then to that. So that's something that, again, I think the universe is telling me to read it because it's come up multiple times. But books like that,
I think you'll really like it because you're a structured person. That's why I like it. It's because it's very formulaic. Like, this is the formula. By page 20, you should be here. By page 40, by page 60, you should be here.
Yeah,
and then, for me, it's easier to play it once I have the framework. For me, it's easier for me to create something once I have an outline to it. So yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. And then Jessica, you said they had one for pilots too, not just features.
Yeah, so they have features, pilots. I think they have one for a novel as well if someone wanted to write like a full-on novel. It's all going to be the same-ish structure. It's just kind of like how do we morph it then into like the different mediums that we're trying to like, fit it 1 hour, 30 minutes versus like, the feature length. And then of course too, what's been really interesting because I've been reading the pilot one is it is a little bit different because some of the normal stuff that you would have, like they have these different genres that your hero goes on, and it's not the like horror versus fantasy versus comedy type genre. It's just like what journey is the hero going on, and is it like a buddy love or is it like stuck in a house or like get out of the house sort of thing or whatever. Like there's different like ones that he like calls it. Yeah. And it's just like where is your hero going? Like what's the objective basically? But he said too, in the pilot one, not to get too caught up on it. Like you want to know what your pilot is, but the rest of your season can be different genres. Cool. Like of the Save the Cat genres. Yeah. And I was like, that makes it like a lot easier because it doesn't always, I mean, if it's something like some very structured, like, whatever, Chicago Fire or something, I'm sure it's like basically the same, like, the procedural, but like, if it's, one of the Netflix ones that every time it's a different story, you never know. So sorry, that was a tangent of Save the Cat.
But moral of the story is highly recommend.
Yeah. I also want to point out too, is that while you're saying like you haven't read the books and everything, I think what's like really invaluable that people don't necessarily think is quote unquote study is actually like doing the art. Like anytime you read a script, that's studying. Anytime you like, watch a movie, that's studying. You're like literally seeing the format, even if you don't have it like quote unquote like planned out as like this is a beat for whatever, or this is like A story or B story or whatever. We intake it so much that like after a while it does start to become a little bit more natural because we know what needs to happen for act 1, act 2, act 3. Yeah. So I will say that I'm sure that like, although you're saying, you've not read the literature, still you're watching the movies, you're watching the shows, you're interacting with art. So that's still
clearly it's working because your short films are riveting. I've seen a few of them and they're really great.
Also, shorts are really hard because we're not used to watching a lot of shorts too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have to be a master of like a scene essentially.
which is
Because
so
shorts
funny.
are so,
Yeah.
there's not really an act 1, 2, 3. Not really, usually.
Yeah. Which is funny because I feel safer with shorts, if I'm being honest. Like personally, when I'm writing, I'm like, it's easier for me to write a short. And I think that attributes to like my ADD, just like get in, get out. Like I need a story, I need a quick hit, which is actually what inspired my partner and I's recent social account and accounts, which is the short snacks. It's that bite-sized idea of content. And so, yeah, I appreciate you saying so. Shorts are definitely something that I don't know if I'm great at, but it's something that I tend to lean more into. I do want to stretch myself at some point and try a feature, but we'll see.
So you do have a creative partner, and we do want to touch upon this a little bit just because I'm with someone who's not in the industry. And I think me and Jess were just having this conversation like, oh my God, imagine if we lived together, the shit we would do.
You would take
how we would fill our days. And you're living that life.
Yeah.
So how has that been? Because you guys moved to LA together, and how have you guys managed to build a relationship where you mutually support each other creatively,
and a work relationship because you guys are working together?
Mm-hmm. We're still figuring it out. I mean, it's not like anything we've formally decided on. It's just I think we got along really well first and foremost as friends. And then we got along, really great as, partners, like boyfriend, girlfriend. And then we slowly introduced our creative selves to each other in the sense of working together. Our first short officially together was that our micro short, Farewell. Farewell was one that he helped me with because it came about from a need as an actor where I wasn't getting much interest because no one really knew how to cast me. And I was like, well, I feel like I could play the villain very well. So we were like, great, let's write a short film that you can use for your reel that highlights that. And so we did. And that's where Farewell came about. And that's where our first kind of interactions working with each other started. And it just was really easy. I felt very safe. He's a director himself. And as an actor, Monique, you can probably attest to this. Not all directors make you feel safe on set, unfortunately, depending on the context of the work. We have to bring ourselves very much vulnerably and emotionally in some cases. And if you don't have a director that makes you feel safe to do so, it can be really traumatic. I've had, an experience of that as well. So it was just really nice to realize how I felt with him as my director. I felt like I could really dive deeper into the psychological aspect of my character because, again, Farewell is you ladies have seen it. So that it is a very complex scene and it's a wonder.
Emotionally demanding.
And very emotionally demanding. Yes. So to be able to feel like I could be present and really deliver something that I would not have been able to with someone I didn't feel safe on was great. So that's where I figured that Roth and I, my partner and I, would work very well together. And so we tackled Farewell, and then we kind of just started naturally writing other things together because work has been so slow, which brings me to my motto forever and always moving forward is if, in order to get the work, you have to make the work. And that's essentially what my partner and I have been able to do and why it's so great to have the accountability of somebody else as well, which is what I actually appreciate about you both. During the Women's Summit, you had mentioned, or maybe you didn't mention it, but I had made the evaluation that you two have each other to keep the other one accountable, which I think there's so much strength in that. I know not everyone is afforded a partner in this industry. Whether it be a great girlfriend or a partner, boyfriend, whoever. But if you can find it, someone that you work well with, that's very powerful. And like you were joking about, if you were in the same household, you'd conquer the world. And I believe that. So
yeah, well, and influencers there are influencer houses where people are putting up influencers in a house and they're just creating content 24/7. And it kind of falls within that same realm. If you're, living with someone and having the ability to constantly create with them,
it's one less barrier. It's one less barrier.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm still trying to convince Monique to build me a shack in her backyard, but we're working on that.
I mean, she could stay in one of my bedrooms. The kids and my husband are just going to bother the shit out of her. We're all going to bother the shit out of you.
I'll take the shack. It's fine.
Yeah. She's like, I want to be a little bit separated.
Yeah. Smart.
Oh, we got to convert the garage.
I'll still come in for like, showers and stuff, but
Basic needs.
kitchen.
Basic needs. When you first told us that you guys were making stuff and you're doing it, at your place, I'm like, okay. And then I saw it, your shorts. These are full-on productions.
Yeah.
You were in a hospital, like in a hospital room made it look like, okay, all right, you got, and sound plays a lot of elements to it too.
Absolutely.
You have like the beeping from the hospital things. Everything was great, but everything looked realistic. It didn't look like you shot it in, I don't even know, like living room or wherever you were. And then I saw Brink, another short film, which has all of these,
crazy
military explosions, all these things. I'm like, what? How are they fucking doing this?
Yeah.
So, they're not just like, I mean, you can just make simple things, but these are elaborate, well thought out. Do you have like planning meetings with your partner regularly where you just work out logistical things? Do you recommend anything, any like world building or, kind of, I guess, pre-production meetings to help you get through this and pump them out fairly quickly?
Yeah. So yes to all of it. I think this goes back to me being a planner by nature. And then Roth, he is such a wizard. He's self-taught, mind you. He has taught himself everything in terms of special
CGI,
effects.
self-taught CGI.
Self-taught.
Wild.
CGI, yeah. He started in After Effects because his favorite genre is sci-fi. And unfortunately for him, sci-fi is probably one of the most expensive, along with fantasy, depending, because of all of the world building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So because of his just natural genre preference, he's taught himself how to do basic things. And as the tools have evolved significantly, he's been able to realize his imaginings so much better, because when you're a creative person and, Monique and Jessica, you're a writer, you have this world, this entire world that exists in your brain. And so you have to think of practical ways to get that out and to make that exactly what you envision. And so being a sci-fi brain, he's like, okay, well, he has all that in his brain, which I think is so cool to get to see what lives in there. And so in order for him to get it out, he's had to self-teach himself, which is incredible. So Brink, which is that about 2 minutes, give or take, 2:55, I think, was exactly that. He had the vision. He knew what he wanted to do in terms of the environment. The pre-production, though, was a conversation. It usually just starts with us rapping, back and forth, spitting ideas. It usually also comes out from a need. So, for instance, Roth actually wanted to test in Unreal Engine. He wanted to test out implementing a little 3D character interacting with the actor. That's how Brink started. It was like, he was like, I really just want to mess around with this. And I was like, great. And I was like, I'll write you a story for that. And so I just got down to 2 pages. I just was like, okay, what do we want? We want like a little dragon. What if we had a dragon land on the actor's hand? That's the only thing that we wanted to do. And so, we thought of Brink, and I just wrote it real fast, real, basic. And it evolved a little bit based off of the need. And instead of a dragon landing on the hands, we made them dragonflies. So that was what you saw, the dragonflies. So those 2 dragonflies at the very end was the whole purpose of Brink, was for him to just experiment. And he took about a week to edit, which is a long time for 2 minutes and 55 seconds. But it's because he was learning new things, teaching himself how to do things, and then frame by frame had to light my face for the fireflies because we did not use a practical light. It was all in post.
Wow.
So to get the reflections in my eyes, to get the reflections against my hand and my face, he all did, frame by frame. And that's the old school way of doing it too. So no AI was used on Brink. No AI whatsoever. It was just all CGI mastery.
That is incredible.
Patience.
And it kind of goes back to something that we've said on the pod too. And I know that this is your partner, but this could speak to, anyone who's collaborating with someone, not just, their relationship partner. It could be their business partner, or just if they're looking for someone to collaborate with, is you have to tell people what you need. If you need, you know, a scene in a certain accent, if you need an action scene, you need to tell and vocalize those things to people so that you can pull those resources together, because people can't read your mind. People don't know what you need until you tell them.
I will say too, like, as a writer, it's a lot easier for me to come up with something if I have a prompt, aka we just want to interact with a 3D little imaginary thing.
Yep.
You know, at least you have something to pull from. Or if, like, you know, like you were saying with Farewell, you wanted to, like, you know, show the bad guy a little bit. Like that's a prompt. That's something, you know. So it's a lot easier to come up with something from something versus something from nothing. So
100%.
100%. Love it. I do want to move into a little bit. We are like astounded by you and super inspired, obviously.
Oh my goodness.
In that, like, how you're like utilizing your resources. Like the other day when because we sat and chatted and had coffee and everything, or lunch. And one thing that like kind of blew my mind, that I was like, I didn't even think to really utilize that resource, which is like maybe just like a dumb thing on my part. But like, you said that you went to a virtual workshop. You were like, oh, and then everyone was putting their like socials in the chat. And so a lot of the time I was just reaching out to people in the chat and, you know, whatever. And I was like, oh, like that's a really, really good idea to like actually utilize that resource and like really take up on it. And then too, with the social media as well, like something at your fingertips that you're, you know, using. And then obviously networking, the fact that we've seen you at 2 different networking events.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just want to, if you could talk about like how you're like utilizing those resources and just to like move you through your career and your objective.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll start out with a quote if I can, that it has inspired. So this was even before I decided to fully lean into social media, which I will touch on really in a moment. But it was actually Jason Alexander, the actor Jason Alexander. This was a post on Instagram back in 2022. I don't know if this is when he said it in an interview, but he was being interviewed. And he said, most frustrated actors are those waiting for the gig. And it's so true. Frustrated actors are the ones waiting for the gig. And then he proceeded to say, you must make the gig. And I thought that at the time, I thought that was so profound, because I also was still I was very green still and trying to figure out what I wanted to do and what I liked doing, and nothing was really happening. And it was the indie space. So, you know, take that for what you will, or the non-union indie space. And so, yeah, he said, you must make the gig. And I was like, this is amazing. He said, hire yourself, cast yourself, say yes to yourself, because not only will you be happy, and potentially, maybe not right away, you might make money, depending. But the bigger goal, in my opinion, is someone might see it. And that someone who knows someone might see it, or they'll refer to someone. And so it's just exactly what you're saying about asking too, Monique, where you're like, you have to ask, you have to say, hey, I need this, or I'm looking for this. It is so true. Like, we're so comfortable in our little bubble. Like, at least for me, I'm speaking for myself. I'm so comfortable being in my bubble, not asking for help. That's something that's really hard for me that I'm trying to get better at. And so again, it's like, once I started putting myself out there, once I started telling people I'm looking for representation, I'm looking for casting director workshops, I'm looking for whatever it is that I was looking for. Once I started opening that up and telling people, things started happening. Like, a guy that I had asked to refer me to his agent, you know, a while ago, hits me up out of the blue 3-4 months later, says, hey, I'm so sorry, I totally forgot. Like, would love to still send your stuff over. And that's because I've been posting all the time, because he's like, also, I love what you've been posting. And so it's just being top of mind for people.
Yeah.
And it is uncomfortable posting your life or posting about what you're doing. It is uncomfortable sharing your art, because I held it so close to my chest, and I didn't want people to judge me for it. But the only way to gain traction is to literally tell people what you're doing. And people who like it will stick around, and people who don't won't. And that's totally still in your benefit. So again, it all started with Jason's quote, you must make the gig. And then that led into my now motto, which is like, if you want the work, make the work. Kind of a similar nuance. And so that's where I was initially inspired. And only as of late, as you ladies know, did I fully lean into social media. And this is because after the Women in Entertainment Summit that we all attended, I realized the industry is not ignoring social media. They are, if not paying closer attention to those people who are already in the driver's seat. And me being a control freak, I was like, well, I want to be in the driver's seat. I've been trying to be in the driver's seat. It's the best view. So I was like, wow, okay, this isn't going away. Shelah, you have two options. You can, ignore it, continue to live your life, and very little will likely happen. Or you lean into it and you see what happens. You see where it takes you. It's led to me starting Short Snacks with my partner. It's led to me, producing Bring. I have 3 more in pre-pro, 3 more shorts we're excited to shoot. It's led to me having conversations with actual managers who are making moves for their talent in the industry. Like it's opening doors that I otherwise would not have even been presented if I didn't start making noise about it.
Amazing. I think the biggest thing to remember is people don't know you're there if you don't, like you said, make noise and say that you're there. And it's just, that's the issue with it. And so much of the industry is like, hurry up and wait. But while you're waiting,
yes,
do something.
100%. Well, they say that all the time. And another thing too, to your point, I was in an agent manager showcase, virtual, trying again to get representation. And there's a Q&A after the fact, and every single one of them was saying that we as actors need to be making our own stuff. Every single one of them. And it kind of was like, well, what do we need you for? I'm like, hello, I'm making my own stuff. I'm cutting out the middleman, and you're the middleman. So the whole agent thing, and I deeply respect their work, and this is not me saying that I don't, but it's just, even they are saying, go out and make the work for yourself. And I'm like, wow.
Because it also makes their lives easier because they have something to showcase you in.
Yeah, exactly.
And links to send people.
Exactly.
And I was just at a movie screening last night of a feature film, and it was created by 2, YouTube stars, essentially. They have another YouTube star in it. I mean, people are going to make things, and they probably made it because they had the money to do so, because they built these online content creator careers.
Yeah.
It's a big resource. It's a free resource.
It is.
I mean, I've totally fought it for so long, but again, we want to go into a visual medium. And that is a free, massive visual platform that's in the palm of everybody's hands.
I also think, too, there was kind of like a taboo about like the content creators as well. Like mainly because, which I understand it, mainly it was because I think that we had people who were influencers who were just, doing their influencing thing, building their careers and everything, which is great. And then once they had an audience, they were like, oh yeah, let me try acting. Let me try singing. Since I have the resources, let me try it. But that wasn't necessarily like their first, like, this is what I'm doing. But now I think that we've had people and they've maybe been like subpar at like the thing that they are trying, like at the acting or the singing or whatever it is. Right. So I think that it kind of got like a bad rep. It's like, okay, so just because they have like, I guess they have some fans who will maybe come out and see it, but like at what cost? Like, the art essentially. But now I think, too, we've seen people like, the actors and the singers who actually really are, that's their like number one. Mm-hmm. They're saying it as like, oh, well, if I build up my audience, then it'll lead me to more opportunities to, actually get into my career.
We're seeing people who are actually good in this. Right. Actually good in this space, utilizing this tool instead of people who just happen to go viral a couple times, then trying to learn a brand new skill, which I mean, good on them.
Which the nuance is different. And I think that's why is like, that's changed is like, because it's no longer the people who just like, who had their influencer career and now are trying to just be like, yeah, why not shoot my shot sort of thing. It's the people who are like, have been wanting to act and sing and do all the things are using that career, that content career to get that space, get into those rooms.
No, it's so true. And I mean, it is interesting to see with, I've really plugged this one hard, Short Snacks. check us
No,
out.
I was literally going to ask you about it. Tell us the premise because it's so cute and we loved it when you told us the first time.
Yeah,
we love it. Tell us.
Please.
Okay. Well, the reason why I was going to say that is there is a reason, but the plug of it, the high level is, okay, so Short Snacks is, again, my partner and I started this, where it is bite-sized shorts for people who just want a little snack, a little nibble, you know? You just got like 5 minutes. You just want something on the go.
Media nibble.
A little media nibble, a little story. So that's the concept of it. What is interesting, though, is the reason why I bring it up again is because what I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe it's my algorithm, what I've seen successful with these actors doing little sketches and skits and bits and whatever else, it's mainly comedy that does really well. It's quick, it's catchy, it's funny, and everyone loves to laugh. So what's a little unique about Short Snacks, we haven't done it quite yet. We're still trying to build our content. I'm curious to see how it'll do because it's not going to be comedy all the time. Like, the idea is that we take a drama and we give you like 5 episodes of a drama, or we give you maybe like a thriller, and we give you like 5 episodes of a thriller, or we give you 5 minutes, whatever we end up doing. So I'm curious to see if that will work or not. I don't know, because again, I get all sorts of like comedy bits and I love watching them, but the attention span is hard to keep. So we're going to see how it plays out. We're going to try different things, see what people enjoy and respond to. But again, at the root of it, it's the ability to create, it's the ability to explore, it's the ability to storytell exactly how we want to. And if people like it, fabulous. If they don't, well, whatever.
Another thing that like makes total sense is, you've been saying like, oh, I'm way more comfortable in the short side of things, like with the writing and all of that. That's perfect for social media. Exactly, like that's literally the point, is like the quick and the quick and the bold, essentially. And I think your thing will go off. It'll be great. As long as I think if you have like some sort of comedy in there, that'll be great. And then, every once in a while, so that way you get like all the different genres or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then if there's anything that's like memeable, I bet you anything.
I don't know like, if your guys' algorithms push this to you. It was like the first 3 months of the year, I was getting so many of like these short form little episodes about vampire, werewolf, all this kind of stuff. I was like, what is happening?
Verticals.
But it's working. The people are putting out these mini episodes, not always comedy. It was mostly drama, and it was totally fine. It was totally working.
Soap operas. So those are verticals. Yeah. And if anything, I think the soap opera verticals, if you will, have definitely claimed the vertical title. But what Short Snacks, what we aim to do with that as well, is change the perception if we can. I know there's already people doing it where they are also trying to put out more maybe serious, more considered writing in that exact format though. Yeah. So what Short Snacks hopes to do is we hope to take the formula of vertical dramas and apply that, but also expand upon it into maybe, higher production value or something a little bit more like Brink, I don't know, but they have a formula and it works.
It totally works.
It works.
I'm watching every time. Every time I'm like, oh wow, I'm hooked. Okay.
It works. So we're definitely going to try and we're going to try some things.
Serious vampires.
Serious, which is funny because Roth actually has a short film about vampires called I Miss Us, and he wrote that a long time ago, and it was so funny and it's brilliant.
I thought you were going to say called Serious Vampires.
Maybe Jessica, maybe you're going to write it. You're going to write it. It's going to call Serious Vampires.
Let's just retitle his. It's fine.
It's fine. No one knows of it anyways. That's all I did.
Do you have any? I mean, you've given us so many nuggets of wisdom, but is there anything like an overarching theme as an actor, a piece of advice that you would give someone just starting their career, or as a producer, or writer?
Yeah. I think as an actor, the first thing that comes to my mind that I wish I had known is that it's okay to say no. I think as, you're green, especially as a woman who's like not really sure what I can and can't say no to, it's not, I'm a people pleaser in general. So I want to make, people's visions come to life. But I have found myself in a couple of situations, fortunately, nothing egregious, nothing crazy, but I found myself in situations on projects where I didn't know how to ask questions, let alone the right questions, but I didn't know how to ask questions. And then I didn't know how to say, actually, I'm not comfortable doing this. And so I don't know if that's really in line with, making the work for yourself or whatnot. But I think it is something generally I wish I had known as a new actor is it's okay to say no, first and foremost. And then on the flip side of that, it's okay to explore new things. So it's kind of, two sides of the same coin. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say yes, if you will. It's just learning what that looks like for you. But if you're uncomfortable, if something you're like guessing, second guessing, sit with that with yourself for a second and then make the decision. That's what I would say from an actor.
Yeah, I think you brought up a really good point with that is how did you learn to ask questions, or how did you gain the courage to, to formulate that and find your voice in that way?
Yeah, through not doing that. Like I realized, again, this goes back to my professional background. It's interesting combining the professional self and the creative self, learning how to marry the two. And that's where I'm at now today is I've had a better sense of what that looks like. But early on, they were both very separate. Early on, it was, this is the creative world. This is the business world. In the creative world, I'm just here to learn. I'm just here to do what needs to be done. And so as I did more short films, more student films and whatever else, and as I reflected back on those thinking, yeah, I wouldn't have done that again. The business self kind of stepped in a little bit more. I realized each project I would learn something. Each project I was very intentional to sit down with myself and I'd be like, okay, what's the takeaway? Did you like this project or did you not like this project? If you did, what did you like? If you didn't, what didn't you like? And then I would actually list that out. And then I'd be like, okay, well, I met this person on this project that I didn't like. And this person actually introduced me to this director who I do like. And this director I now worked with on 3 different projects of his. So from that project I didn't really enjoy, I got, something golden out of it. So to help me kind of learn my boundaries and learn what I would like and not like, it really came down to making the list and then finding the positive in every single project so that I didn't feel bad about myself.
Oh, yeah.
And just like, yeah, this project was probably not great, but I learned so much from it for this reason. So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, I think it does. That's really cool and interesting. And actually, I also will journal and experience anytime I direct, because I feel like it's so fast moving and you come away with there's always a new thing that you learn, and every project's different, right? That's the whole thing is you're put in a situation that's going to be new and different, and there's going to be different needs and different people that I work with. So I do the same thing when I direct, and I kind of forgot about it, but that's a really good piece of advice is coming back, decompressing a little bit and separating the good feelings, the bad feelings, and then what you learned from it, all of it, really compartmentalizing or figuring out, all the goods, the bads, and the uglies of the project.
Especially when you are producing as well.
Yeah.
If you're coming away from it as an actor thinking, ew, this made me feel icky. If you write it down and we can look back on a moment and be like, wow, I really didn't like that production, and then forget why. Maybe your mind blocks it out. Maybe just time, makes you forget. But if you write it down, journal it, and put it in a note, at least on the on the acting side of things, hopefully you'll understand how to handle those situations in the future. But on the producing side, you're never going to do that to someone else.
Right.
And you'll foster that, better in on-set environment.
Yeah. I would definitely say
is great.
Yeah, reflecting, especially early on, is very helpful because I imagine once you start getting momentum and, you find yourself working with, people who have been doing it for a while, maybe the list still applies, maybe it doesn't. But definitely as you're getting started, finding the positive, finding the lesson in every production has been helpful for me.
And Jessica and I and Hannah as well, we've done that as a production team as well. After after we wrap something, we, don't immediately talk about it that night because it's been usually a very long day. We come back to it later that week and say, hey, what worked for everybody and what didn't work for everybody, because my experience during the shoot could have been very different from Jessica's experience, because she was in the world of directing, and let's say me and Hannah were on the producing side and we're putting out fires or whatever, and she was like, oh yeah, everything was great, and we're like, well, actually da 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 da, or I'm on the acting side of things, and I'm like, yes, everything was wonderful, and Jessica's like, well, we had to pull this one aside and talk to this and like I was like, oh, I didn't even see that conversation.
So on our first on chapters there was like a moment for that, and it was just I love that you were like.
And I was like, everyone was so nice. Everything was great. And Jessica and Hannah were like, well,
but that also wonderful. Was like, that was a compliment, because at that time we weren't like a producing partnership yet. Like,
you totally hit everything well for me.
But I mean, because the one that was like important is like we wanted to make sure the incident was like isolated, but it was just one of those things. And so it was like a good feedback, because in our head, in our brain, it was like it took over everything, you know what I mean? But clearly we're like, well, shoot.
I didn't even notice. I didn't, which is lovely.
You did it. That's your job. Don't let it be shown. But no. And what I love too, I love working with women. I wish that I had more experience, but I know I'm going to have tons of experience moving forward working with like women and whatnot. Yes, but like the intentionality behind creating like the environment for people, the intentionality between scheduling, making sure people's time is respected, making sure we're on time. Like nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. But I just, in my experience, as limited as it is, I feel like we think about these things. And that's already a win. We're already considering them.
Here's the thing. I'm always like, I can watch a great piece of film and then I know that someone was like abused on the set or something. Like I rewatched like The Wizard of Oz for the first time in like forever the other day, and then I'm like, oh wait, but Judy Garland was like tortured. Drugged. Like like I don't know, it kind of takes the magic out of it a little bit. And I also think like while it's great to make something that is like everlasting beyond us, right, like also the people around you, like that's a legacy too. Do you know what I mean? Like making sure that everyone's like feeling taken care of and respected, and everyone's bringing their own artistry to the workplace. So you have to respect that. Like it's not a solo, solo thing. It's a team effort. So respect everyone that brings it,
100%.
Anyhow, sorry.
No, that was really good. I felt the power behind that, Jessica. I felt it.
Yeah. So before we conclude today's episode, I just want us to have a little moment of applause for your gorgeous website.
Yes.
Well, for you, but also your phenomenal website. You and we have another guest that's on this season, Ashley Flowers. Both of you are my new website goals.
Really?
I have to ask, did you design it yourself? Did you use a program? Like it's stunning. You are stunning, but it is stunning also.
Okay, Monique, you have no idea. First of all, this makes me incredibly happy because
Really?
Yes, because I am such a design freak. Like when it comes to just design, like I love design. I love it. I'm not great at it, but I love it.
Well,
but
you're great at it.
You're great at it. Yeah, you're great.
No, so I can't take credit for that outside of the fact. So I use Squarespace, but I do not recommend Squarespace. Sorry, Squarespace. I've heard better things about Wix in terms of their design capability.
Beautiful.
Unfortunately, I have just been using Squarespace since the dawn of time, so I just keep it. But anyways, I appreciate you saying that because it has been so frustrating to me. There are parts of my website that I'm not a coder. I'm not a designer. I'm not a whatever. I'm not a, what is it called? Not a software engineer.
I think coder. I think that's right. I don't know.
It's a designer.
Aerospace engineer, something like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And so there are certain things that I would like to be done on my website, but I don't know CSS or HTML, whatever. So again, I appreciate you saying that. But I will say, highly recommend Pinterest. I cannot recommend Pinterest enough when it comes to inspiration for wardrobe, characters, scenes, story. I am hugely widely inspired by photography when it comes to my characters and who I write and whatever I do. And so I say that because I also utilize Pinterest to inspire my website design, because if you literally just look up like website design on Pinterest, there's gorgeous people who actually know what they're doing will post like little screenshots of like their layouts, and I just, to the best of my ability, will just be like, okay, this is the mood I love, this is the color palette I love. And so honestly, Pinterest for everything. Like,
okay, so once again, you're a resource master. Like, you know where the resources are and how to use them. Yeah.
So highly, and then also so random, and I can send it to you ladies and whatever. There's a Instagram account that I follow for PowerPoint. Okay. PowerPoint is sick when you know how to use it. And so I recently just I was going through my Instagram and I recently rediscovered this account that I was already following. And I was like, ooh, I wonder if I can design one of these really dope ass covers in PowerPoint and then save it, export it as like a cover page, and then plop that into my website. Cause I've been like futzing with my website cause I'm not like super 100% with it. But anyways, PowerPoint, really great tool as well for design. And Canva, but Canva is a whole other thing.
Yeah. So I use Canva for everything in life. Thank
you so much for saying that though, because I have been second guessing that for so long and I keep messing with it.
No more.
Because I don't like it. I'm like, I hate this. I don't like it.
You don't like it?
There's parts about it that I don't like. And honestly, as I'm growing it, there's parts that won't be aesthetic anymore because it looks good because I only have like 6 projects. So it's like 6 is an even number. But as I start to expand it, it's going to get really gross and ugly. So I'm going to have to evolve. But that's fine. But thank you.
But it looks beautiful.
Well, still check it out, everyone. We think it's wonderful.
Great. Aesthetically pleasing, very
it might change
clear.
By then, but I appreciate it.
Well, but I trust your aesthetic. It's going to change and it's still going to be great.
Now it's beautiful. In 5 months, it might be awful, but like, it's fine.
Fair.
Like,
it's true.
Check it out to find out.
Yeah, find out. SHELAHLARSON.com.
Absolutely. Additionally, you can follow Shelah on Instagram at Shelah Larson, which will be linked in the show notes below.
And don't forget to check out all of our exclusive subscriber episodes over on our Patreon at patreon.com/oldgirlsentertainment. Shelah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We love you.
Thank you. This was so fun. I don't want it to end. Thank you, ladies.
Well, we'll have to bring you back on. Maybe in like a couple years when you're super famous.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Next year. Who knows? Could be next year.
I'm sorry.
We need to make things.
We'll bring you back on tomorrow.
Yeah.
Once you're like,
once you go viral overnight.
What is it saying? It's a 10-year overnight success.
There you go.
That'll be all of us.
You're in it.
All right. Now, go get set.
Go get set.